give a big round of applause to welcome Mr. Joe.
First of all, thanks for having me here. My students at Chula, when I have them do real consulting cases, so even at their family companies, so a lot of the Chula students, they have family businesses. They think it's so easy because the analysis is easy, but it turns out, so when at the end of the project that I asked them what was the most difficult part, almost every year the students say collecting the information, getting the right information is the difficult part. So I'm on the board of one of the publicly listed real estate firms. He is very, very low. Yeah, because there's lots of uncertainty. We had a good year this year, but we had the worst valuation. Why is that? We had a really good year.
Because you already sold all the houses and there's no moving.
Yeah, all our good assets are sold. People are asking what's next. But if you have a good hotel, right? Like say you do Sitani, whatever, right? You know that people are gonna come day in, day out, they're gonna go, right? So occupancy rate, 60%, 80%, there's always gonna be there, right? At the top hotels, right? You can still use the same location, you don't need to redevelop it, right? So those are some of the considerations when you think about things like mergers, acquisitions, investments, and different things. The good thing about management consulting is it's good for people who really don't know what they want to do. That's one. But more importantly is you get to practice your analytical skills quite a bit. You get to solve various different problems. Because a lot of the projects are only maybe 2 months long, 3 months long. And so you get a lot of exposure to different industries, different types of problems. So it's not good for people who don't like solving problems. It's a pretty good business. There's still people who would be interested to run it. Why not sell it to somebody else who may want to run it, right? So that's kind of like the role of the mergers and acquisitions advisor. The other thing that we do is when companies want to go into the stock exchange to raise money, or even startups, right? There's lots of startups nowadays. You see all these tech companies, people who want to start their own companies. A lot of times they would raise money from people like me who are angel investors, so invested in over 20 businesses. They all lost money, unfortunately, but we invest in companies at an early stage, and then when they grow and they raise more money, they become more valuable. Then we try to help them in terms of whether they want to go for. There's two things. So one is if they go very successful, they want to go public, they can go for an IPO. The other one is they may get acquired by a different company. Private equity is in part of what the asset class they call alternative assets. So it's not something that people typically invest in. It's not something that's easy to invest in. And even in Thailand, only high net worth individuals are allowed to invest in private equity, right? So the very super rich, because they feel that it's unsafe, right? So, but if you look at private equity generally compared to the stocks, whichever index it is, longer term, private equity outperforms all these stocks. And then if you look at kind of like the portfolio, right, of rich people, before they would put money in stocks and bonds, right, and no private equity, but more and more over time, they're trying to put more in private equity. And by putting more in private equity, it actually reduces your risk and it increases your return. So if you can reduce your risk and increase your return, that's something that's very interesting, right? So we'll tell you why. And what they do is we source these companies before they go into the public markets. So usually companies that are in the private market, private meaning it's not traded in the stock exchange. They're valued much lower than companies in the public market. So what we do is we acquire companies that need help. So need help in terms of growing the business, need help in terms of capital investment. And of course we're strategy, right? We're management consultants. We help them. We say, how do you reduce your costs? How do you grow your business? Right? And then we help prepare you for an IPO. So take you to the public market. And then we have people who have had experiences in management consulting firms like BCG, McKinsey, and then also investment banking firms like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. So some of the names that you will know. So that's something that we try to do and do in terms of private equity in Thailand. So these are some of my, quote unquote teachers. So they're actually my clients. So we do a lot of work for them. And through that experience, we collect,